good? It's your boy Fannon. Want to welcome you back to the channel, subscribers. Thank you for your support. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified when we release more videos. Let me tell you what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about Eddie Hearn and something that Eddie Hearn said. We're going to talk about Eddie Hearn. We're going to talk about the heavyweight division. You have several fights that I think you're going to want to watch over the next couple weeks and months. Obviously, I guess in the month of May and the first week of June in the heavyweight division, Deontay Wilder will be fighting Dominic Breazeale on Showtime, and Anthony Joshua will be fighting on DAZN against Andy Ruiz. I think you are going to like those fights. Those are good fights. I'm excited about them, but I'm going to tell you what Eddie Hearn said and why you shouldn't believe him. Ultimately, I've been very hard on Eddie Hearn because there's no secret I'm not a fan of Eddie Hearn's. I think that Eddie Hearn is not the most straightforward guy in the world, but hey, you know how many promoters are, right? At a certain point in time, you got to start living and let living. And I'm trying to get there with Eddie Hearn, but he makes it really, really difficult. His dad makes it extra difficult. And I don't care what people say. I'm not gonna, I'm not overlooking. I don't think it's reasonable to ask me to overlook some of the things that go on. However, for the sake of this video, let me tell you what he said, and then we're going to discuss it. And I'm going to tell you why I don't think you should believe him. He states in response to questions about things that Shelly Finkel said, and I'll explain who Shelly Finkel is just in case you don't know, because, we get new subscribers all the time. And sometimes, for the people who are, if you are regular to the channel, you know who that is. But some people don't. He says regarding Shelly Finkel's recent statements about how the year 2020, that he doesn't see the fight between Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua happening before 2020, and how he's gutted. This is the words that he uses for you. He says, gutted. I'm just glad now that finally people are starting to see. It's like the Ortiz thing. Imagine if he hadn't said something, it would be a non-stop shtick. Depressing. I can't be bothered to talk about it. I just hope the public have seen the truth. He then goes on and talking about how Luis Ortiz was his the favorite, the first choice for the fight with Anthony Joshua, and how but Andy Ruiz is a better choice than the original guy, who is Jarrell Big Baby Miller. Right? None of that stuff I necessarily have any problem with. I do think that Big Baby Miller probably that Andy Ruiz for me is a better fight than Jarrell Big Baby Miller, because Jarrell Big Baby Miller isn't the hardest puncher in the world, and Andy Ruiz does have something to come back at Anthony Joshua for. If you are not familiar with Andy Ruiz, you should check out the fight that he last did on PBC. It was a fun fight. I think the fight is going to be entertaining, and that if you watch it on DAZN, I think you're going to be happy with what you see. At the very least, you're going to have, some fun watching somebody get knocked out. And I think that ultimately that's going to be the response. That's actually what's going to happen. But as far as whether or not Eddie Hearn is heartbroken or gutted or wrenched and all that other stuff, you shouldn't believe him. There's a video that we did on this channel, and I'm actually going to link to, if I can figure out how to give you a banner above this particular portion of the video, and it should be either here or here. When it comes up, you'll see that I did a video where I explained where Eddie Hearn had laid out his fight plan for Anthony Joshua, and Deontay Wilder was never part of that. And he specifically talked about how he was going to have an 8-fight plan or a 10-year, that he had a 10-year plan. So that's the long-term plan for Anthony Joshua to be, this, once in a lifetime Klitschko type, have a Klitschko type of reign in boxing, and that he was setting up certain fights to make that happen. And I've always maintained that although I am not the biggest fan of Eddie Hearn, that Eddie Hearn is very meticulous in his planning of the career of Anthony Joshua. And up until the time that he came to start fighting for us in the United States, which should be happening on June 1st, he did a good job of it. However, you shouldn't believe that he's gutted about it, because he had no plan on making a fight with between Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder before 2020 anyway. Anthony Joshua was on record having said a couple years ago that maybe he thinks the fight is going to happen around 2020. Now, you can come up with all kind of reasons why that might be the case. It could be the case. Some people speculate for you that it's because Anthony Joshua, although he has 3 of the major belts, that he still has under 30 fights, that he's still a growing and he's a learning fight. He's still learning. And that Deontay Wilder is a very, very dangerous fighter, very awkward fighter that's very hard to predict what he's going to do. And as a consequence, they want to give him more. They want to give him more time. I personally take the financial reason. I think similar to what we saw happen with Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather Jr. and what you typically see from Top Rank in the development of their fighters, that they would rather get a bunch of paydays out of a fighter before they actually put him in there against one that he has a significant chance of losing. Also, you might accept the fact that there's a financial, component to it, and where Barry Hearn has stated before that he didn't think that they were ready for the Deontay Wilder fight because they wanted that to grow. Those are all things that were said in 2017 and 2018, and you can see on this channel the videos where we document the things that they've said. What I think that you see here in this particular video or this particular comment is you see a little bit of opportunism here, in that the debacle that we saw in the negotiations for Luis Ortiz and Anthony Joshua, which not coincidentally led to the discussion that we're having now, because that's what the Boxing Voice had interviewed Jay Jimenez, and Jay Jimenez basically said that they wanted to take the fight with Anthony Joshua. The promoter didn't want to do it. His promoter, Luis Ortiz's promoter, rejected the fight because they were going to try to get more money for the fight out of Eddie Hearn, because they believed that they had a bottomless pit of money, or however he referred to that, right? But ultimately he said that also that he believed that the promoter for Luis Ortiz was negotiating with Wilder's camp for a fight with Deontay Wilder, a pay-per-view fight with Deontay Wilder after the Dominic Breazeale fight. And that is what Eddie Hearn is alluding to here. Now, I listened to the video on Boxing Voice. Always want to say, man, definitely you should check out the Boxing Voice. The Boxing Voice is an absolute excellent channel. They do a lot of really good interviews. And have caught people slipping on more than a few occasions. So when they talk to, but they didn't catch Shelly Finkel sleeping. All Shelly Finkel said was that they were taking it one fight at a time. That they have a roadmap for Deontay Wilder, which is not unreasonable. You have a plan for your career. Eddie Hearn has a plan for Anthony Joshua's career. I don't think there's anything dishonest about that, as long as you're telling the truth, about, and not trying to set it up as if the other guy is ducking you, which is what Eddie Hearn is trying to do. The simple solution for you is this, though, and I would suggest that you seriously consider this. If Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn want to make the fight, Deontay Wilder's already told them what they need to do. 50-50. 50-50 revenue split of whatever it is. If it's a fight on DAZN, and DAZN has a certain amount of budget for that fight, then whatever that budget is, Deontay Wilder wants half. If you're going to do it on a pay-per-view and it's going to be a partnership and it's going to be on a Fox pay-per-view or a Showtime pay-per-view, and you're going to have a Sky pay-per-view in the UK, whatever that total dollar amount is, however much money, essentially this is what Shelly Finkel said. We get around the table, we figure out how much money we think is on the table, and we come up with an equitable split of that money. It's not complicated. How much money do we think we're going to make in the United States? How much money we're going to make in the UK? Whatever that is, we split it down. We split it down the middle. You're a champion. I'm a champion. If we're going to have in the United States, I'm the more popular fighter in the United States, that being Deontay Wilder. Anthony Joshua's holding down the UK. That's not a complicated scenario, man. So again, that's why I don't think you should believe that Eddie Hearn is, I think that's why you shouldn't believe Eddie Hearn when he says he's gutted. This actually works to his benefit. The fact that Jay Jimenez said what he said and the way that people are interpreting what Shelly Finkel said all works to his advantage, or he's going to try to make that work to his advantage. He says in the same sentence, he's happy it came out. He ain't gutted that they said it. He's happy that they said it because that allows them to sell their fights, continue to grow their profile, or however they phrase it in the United States, and sell Anthony Joshua. And that's just what it is. That's how I see it. Let me know what you think. But also go after you get done with this video, go check out the video where I said, and this was on another video. Actually, a lot of this stuff came out on IFL TV, but we summarized this on this channel last year and on a lot of different channels they did it. So check those videos out. Appreciate you coming by. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And with that, I'm out.